Hi and welcome, I am Helle from Game for Life BG, and today I'm going to take a look at Agent Who. This is a game for 2 to 5 players. It takes about 20 to 60 minutes to play and is for the ages 12 plus. And this is a game that is going to be on Kickstarter, and this is a preview I'm going to make of the game. I'm going to walk you through the rules for the game, and then I will come with my first impressions of the game. First, let us have a look at how the game is played. I have set up the game for 3 players. First, you're going to shuffle 20 agent code cards, and you're going to deal 1 to each player. This is a secret card for each player, and then you're going to place 3 in a safe box, and that one you cannot look at unless you use your spying card. We will come back to that. And then you have a stack of blue cards. These you're going to shuffle and deal 3 to each player. Then you're going to take the rest of the agent code cards, there are 20 in all. Then you're going to shuffle them with the blue cards to form a deck. And then you're going to reveal 5 cards. In the blue cards you have symbols with, there can be 1 symbol on them, or there can be 2 symbols on them. And on the agent code card, you have a number for the agent's number. You have the numbers 1 to 20. Then you have a symbol with A, a symbol with B, and a symbol with C. At the start of the game, each player, they're going to get a sheet where for each player, except for themselves. So for a 3-player game, then each player they're going to get 2 sheets. And on these sheets, you're going to put the names for the other players. So we have Stitch, we have the panda, and then for all the agent cards you saw in the center, we had a number 2, number 18, and number 19. You can cross them out. You know the other players, they can't be that agent. And then your own card, you can also cross that out because they cannot be this number since you are that number. And then each player, they're going to get a spying card, which you can use once per game. I will explain how that works in a moment. And then you have to choose a start player, and then you're ready to play the game. And in this game, this is a deduction game where each player, they're going to try to figure out the identity of the other players. Which agent code card do they have? And this you can do with inquiries where you're going to ask questions like if you do an public inquiry, you can ask, maybe you can ask Stitch, do you have any of these symbols on your agent code card A? Or you can say B or C. And if you said A, they would look at their agent code card. And then they're going to look at A. This one, they don't have any of these symbols. So now they have to answer with yes, right or wrong, or yes or no, if they have this symbol. So in that way, you're going to learn information about another player's agent code card. And from that information, if they said no, because they didn't have it, then you would discard your card. And then this is public information with the inquiry. Then all players, they would then cross out number A for all of the alien heads, because they aren't the alien in A. So you could cross these out. And then you could cross out every place you have these. But instead, then there was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 you could cross out if they answered no for that question. So in that way you can learn information about other players, and then you can try to deduct who they are. So in this game we are trying to figure out who the other players they are, and the first player to do 2 uncovering is going to win the game. There's also another thing you can do if this player had this card to the hand. Then you can do a vital intel, where you have a card with 1 symbol. Then you have one with 2 symbols, where this symbol is also on this one. And then you would have a card where you have 3 symbols, where both of these are on. Then you could do a vital intel. And if you have your agent code card, then this symbol needs to be on your agent code card too. So the submarine needs to be on your agent code card. Then you can do a vital intel. And then you have done one thing more to get you closer to winning. Because you need to do either 2 vital intels, 2 uncovering, or 1 uncovering and 1 vital intel to win the game. And in the game you could ask a public question, like where we asked with 1 card. You can also instead choose to do a private inquiry. And in that case, I would need to give up 2 of my cards, and then I could ask Stitch, are you any of these symbols in, for example, B? And then Stitch, they would look at their card on the B symbol, it's not there. Then they have to answer. And if the symbol is not there, then they are going to place these 2 face up to each other, so none of them are face down, and they will have to do this underneath the table. Everybody will know that this is the card you're going to give them, but they are not going to know what the answer is going to be. That is a secret between you and Stitch. Then they will do this underneath the table, and then they will give the cards to you, and you would secretly look at them. Then you're going to shuffle the cards, and then you would discard the cards. The cards, they are always discarded after an inquiry. If now it had been, you had asked for the number C on Stitch's card, then this symbol is on C. Then Stitch would have to take this card and place it face down like this. So when you get it back, you would be able to see these 2 symbols. Then you would know that one of these 2 symbols, they are on the agent code card on number C for Stitch. If now you had given them cards like this from your hand, then both of these would match. Then they can choose which card to put down as the face-up card. So maybe here they will choose this one. So you wouldn't know you wouldn't know which symbol was the correct one when you have 2 that was correct. So in this game, you have on a player's turn, you can first do an uncovering, where you can ask a player, are you agent card number 5? Or you can do a vital intel if you have 3 cards that matches like I described. That is an optional thing you can do at the start of your turn, which you're not going to do at the start because you do not have much information at the start of the game. After you have done that, if you have failed, if you failed asking someone, maybe you are agent 5 and they said no, then your turn is over and you can't do any more. But it is optional for you to do the uncover action at the start. Then the second thing you can do is you can do the inquiry. If you didn't use the first one, the uncover action, you will go straight to the inquiry action. If you did and you were successful, then you would also go to the inquiry actions. And the uncover action you can only do once. So if you knew 2 people, which numbers they were, you can only ask one of them. And you can't both play cards, a vital intel, and then uncover. You can only do one of them. So you would have to wait until it was your next turn to do it, if you had 2 things you could do there. The inquiry, then you can do the public or you can do a private inquiry. The person you do an inquiry with, they can also refuse to answer. They can remain silent. If they do so and it was a public inquiry where you took one card and asked them, are you any of these symbols on, for example, B? Then they can refuse to answer. Then this card would be discarded and they will have to give you 1 card. So they would have to give up 1 card from their hand and give it to you if they refuse to answer. If it was a private inquiry where you're going to give them 2 cards, then they have to give you 1 card and they have to discard a card. So in that way, they were going to lose 2 cards. So that is the 2 things, the 2 ways you can ask, and then you can also refuse to answer. And then after you have made your inquiry, you can draw 2 cards, or you have to draw 2 cards from the general market out here. From the stockpile, you can draw here, or you can draw any of the face-up cards. So let me give you an example round of how this is going to work. By that, the spying card. This is a card you can use once per game. You can use it to either take a card from out here, or you can look at these 3 agent code cards that are in the safe box. So you can look at them and then you would know cards that are not in the game. All right, let's take an example round. So we are the start player, so we could start with asking, then I think we will ask the panda, do you have any of these symbols on your card number A? They will look, Stitch will look, And on A, no, they don't have it. So they might answer, or they could refuse, of course, but they will answer, no, I don't have any of these on my card. So you're going to discard this one. Then you're going to take the Panthers card. This Stitch would also do the same, because this is public information. Then we can look at this one, and on number A, they do not have an alien head. We just asked that, so we can cross these out. And they didn't have this one either, so we can cross these out. So now we know that they are 1, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or they could be 11, 12. Stitch might also have wanted not to reveal anything. They could have said, I don't want to answer, and then they could have given us a card. Now we are going to draw 2 cards. We're going to draw this one, and maybe we will draw this one. Then we will flip over 2 new cards. And as soon as you get a card with a number on here, then you can cross it out, because you know that no player can be that number. So here we can cross out number 14, or we already had it because of this symbol, but if we hadn't, but we can cross it out on Stitch, because we know Stitch is not going to be this number. And this is something all players, they will do in secret. And then it would be the Panthers' turn, and they might ask us if we have this symbol on A. Then we're going to look. We don't have it. We might say no. Or we might say, do you know what? We don't want to answer that. We don't want to give any information about that. So instead, we are just going to refuse. And because we refuse, we're going to give them a card. We're going to give them this card. And then we didn't answer. So they don't know if we have it or we don't have it on the card. And then they would draw 2 cards. So they could draw from out here. Maybe they would draw this card. And they could draw this card. And then we would have 2 new cards. And then this player, they would do the same. They would answer, ask a question. Maybe they would do a private inquiry. They would ask us, do you have any of these symbols on let's say the C, on the C symbol? Then we would look. We don't want to give any more of our cards up, because we can make a vital intel. So we can get closer to winning the game. So we don't want to give anything up. So now we have to answer. And we do have the submarine. So we have to place this one underneath the table. We would do this. We would have to place this one at the bottom here. And then we would give it back to Stitch. No, to the Panda. Then we would give it back to the Panda. And they will secretly look at the cards and see, oh, we are one of these 2. So we would most likely be this one. They can look at our cards down here and see, Helle has a submarine on all of these. So there's a good chance it could be the submarine out of these 2 symbols. And then they would shuffle these cards and place them in the discard pile. And then they would draw 2 new cards. So they might draw this one, might draw this one here. And then we would reveal 1 more card. Number 13, we will cross out number 13 on our sheets. And then it would be our turn. And then we could do a vital intel, because we have the submarine here. It needs to be on our card. And we can play these 3 and say we have a vital intel. We have the symbols on all 3. These 2 are here. Then we have completed 1 goal towards winning the game. So now we need to do this 1 time more. Or we can uncover one of the other agents. So the next time it was our turn, then we might look at little Stitch, and then we might answer some questions so we could be closer at winning, or we could use our spying card. You can use your spying card at any time, and then we could look at these 3, and maybe that would be some of the numbers where we could cross out again for numbers that the little Stitch, they aren't. And you could also grab a card out here. If, for example, a great card came out here and this player wanted that card, they might want they might want this card or anything. They can use the spying card to, out of turn, take one of the cards. But if a player is reaching for a card, you can't play your spying card to grab it in front of them when they try to reach for a card. That is not allowed. But that is how you're going to play this game. You're going to get new cards. You're going to try to make these vital intels. And if you at some point guess on a person, and I maybe guessed, are you number 12? and they are number 12, then let's say it was the panda that did this, because otherwise I would have won the game because I have done two things. If the panda asked, Stitch, are you number 12? And they say yes, then they will take this card and place it face up on their agent code card. So you know they have done a successful uncovering of an agent, and over here we can see I have done a vital intel. So we are both one step closer at winning. Now little Stitch is still within the game, even though they have been uncovered. They can still ask questions to us, but we can't ask any questions to Stitch because they don't have an agent code card anymore. They can still also do a vital intel, but for now on, they don't have to have this symbol matching their agent code card because they don't have their agent code card anymore. So they can make with any symbols that matches. So they could make with, for example, if they got these 3 cards, then they could make a vital intel. So they are still with, and it's easier for them to make a vital intel when they have been uncovered. So I think this is a fun little deduction game where you're going to second guess and each other, because sometimes when we certainly played it, then we would say, no, I don't want to answer, I will just give you a card. And then you don't know if that person has the symbol or if they have it and don't want to tell it to you. So yeah, I think it's a fun way and a kind of way you can have some kind of double bluffing, because is it because they have it or not? And then at some point you might have to take some chances when you can get down to that there's only 2 things a player they can be. Then you might have to take a chance and guess on a number that player could be. But if you do so and you are wrong, then the next player might be able to figure out what that player is. If you guessed for the panda and you are wrong, you had maybe 50-50, then the other player will get information when you ask for it. And there's also fun doing the private inquiry where you can get some information the others they don't have. And then of course you know your own card too. So I think it's a simple little fun deduction game and second guessing each other. You can also play this game where if you are going to play with younger children or you want to keep it more simple, then you can play where you do not do the vital intel. You only have to uncover what a player they are, and you can't say no to answering questions. You always have to answer when you get a question. In that way you can play it quicker, and it's more simple in that way. But then you don't have all the second guessing if people they are giving you cards because they don't want to do it. They refuse to tell you anything because they have it or they don't have it. So, but that is also a more simple way you can play the game if you're playing with want it quicker, or you're playing with the kids and want to make it more simple. But that is my overview of this game, and I personally think it's an enjoyable little deduction game. I will make sure to make a link in the description for the Kickstarter when I have the link, and I hope that you got a good impression of how the game works. Thanks for watching.